I do feel a marriage doesn't have to have children involved to be complete, because even biblically, you want to say biblically now, it's when a man and a woman come together and become one. There's not really mention of children unless it's go and multiply.
You don't have any rights. Yes, you don't. To sit down and feel that you should get into this union without expecting a baby. You do not. I can't sit down here and expect to live my life fully without giving my mommy grandchild. I can't do that.
Okay.
I cannot, and that's in fact, the memory of my mother alone, even if we have that conversation, the memory of my mom alone won't push me.
A child is not something to be given.
Okay,
This is the thing that we're saying, yeah? We cannot bring having children down to the fact that, my mother needs a grandchild.
Yeah, I don't think in any way Hi, I'm Ahitabel.
Hi, I'm Emma Dion.
Hi, I'm MM.
And welcome to Truth in Bikinis.
Here we strip down life's toughest issues to its core truth.
Well, at least the ones affecting women.
And so today we're going to be talking about marriage without babies. Is it sensible or selfish? But before we go ahead, I want to introduce our guest. We have a young man here with us to have this debate. Mr. Ekamini Ekwe.
Hello, amazing viewers out there. It's always a pleasure being here. My name is Ekamini Ekwe, the voice that you've been listening to and you've been seeing as the face of Approach the Issue podcast. We talk about everything that concerns issues, family-wise, society and personal development. And I believe this is a conversation that has to do with the family. But before that, I really love to commend what you people have been doing here, especially the energy you're giving in the intro. I felt like, I should join, but I don't know how to do it.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Okay, so like we said, we're going to be talking about marriage without babies. But before we go ahead, I'd like to just ask us, do we really think that this idea of marriage without babies, is it like a modern concept or is something that's been around for a while?
I would say I don't know if it's a modern concept per se. I feel the whole getting married, babies are kind of pretty much expected to be there because it's kind of what has been. You're not just going to get married and not have a child. It's not something that has been common or even had the ability to be so common because people get married. People sleep with each other. People have children. Even before marriage was a thing, people were having children. So I would say it's more of a modern concept as we grow in knowledge and understanding of things and we start to question the reasons we do things. And, people are now starting to see, okay, maybe the way the economy is, maybe children is not the smartest thing to do right now. So, yes.
But I may shock you that people are still giving birth.
People are still giving birth now, of course.
Even with the level of hardship, we are multiplying.
Okay, so because I feel like there's this thing that I think she's been called a feminist, Margaret Sanger. So started this Planned Parenthood. And it started like in the 70s, in the 40s to 70s. Planned Parenthood had to do with women just taking a break from pregnancy sometimes.
Yeah.
They had to do with taking a break from pregnancy, abortion, all of that. So they started an actual clinic to help women take a break from pregnancy. That's why I'm kind of thinking that this thing has started a while ago, even though it didn't become very popular. But I think it's more of a Western concept, because
it's not part of us.
It's more of a Western. But all of a sudden, women over here are beginning to say, we don't want babies. Can we take a break? And they are like, it's becoming a thing, So it's raising concerns. It's raising concerns everywhere. So let's just talk about it. Do you believe that marriage is incomplete without children?
It's very complete.
And if you do, why? And if you don't, why not?
We leave the women to start first.
Well, it depends. Well, then it's incomplete without children. The children need to be there now. Yes. So if the parents are saying, the couples are saying we don't want children, the marriage won't be complete because one of the reasons for marriage is to have children. So if you're saying we won't be having children, then it's just the both of you from the beginning till it's going to be boring.
Okay.
So the children need to be there.
Said it's going to
spice
be boring.
boring.
That was
It's going to be depressing.
Just the husband and the wife and nothing more. So
Okay.
that's my why. And then it's not also making any sense for the couples to say we don't want children. Let's just say maybe the children delayed. It's a very understanding. It's not there yet. They are still believing God for it. Fine. But when we don't just want just the both of them, that's not marriage.
Okay. I don't know, that word you used, boring. I do not like it at all, because children are not an accessory, and children are not something you have just out of so that your boredom is cured, or something you just have for the aesthetics of it, or you don't have children just because people are telling you to have children. You have children with the intentional decision that you have the ability to raise these kids. You have plans to give them the best life you possibly can. You don't just, like, children are not just, I'm having children for children having sake.
An addition.
These are human beings. These are people. They don't exist to cure your boredom. They exist to exist. They exist to live life for their own purposes, you know. And I do feel a marriage doesn't have to have children involved to be complete, you know, because even biblically, you want to say biblically now, it's when a man and a woman come together and they become one. There's not really mention of children unless it's like, go and multiply. You know, they multiply, but it's never really been something it's never really been time and time again made to be about the children. And I think it's a very intentional thing, in the sense that not every person is fit to be a parent. Not every couple can raise kids, and not every couple is going to be able to do it properly. And I feel if people have the self-awareness to look at themselves and be like, we love each other, we want to stay with each other, but I don't think we're going to be able to love ourselves and love children too in the way we prefer to. And they decide to not have kids. Because it's one thing to say, I'm going to love and take care of my kids. It's another thing to do it. You know, some people are self-aware to that extent where they don't. Like, two people come together, they become one. They are getting together because maybe they're enough for each other. Maybe they love each other. Not every human being is the same. Not every human being is going to need a child to fill that void, you know. Some people are self-sufficient. Some people like being alone. Some people want to just be with that one person forever. And maybe they're getting married for the formality of it. They feel dating forever just feels inappropriate to them. And maybe they want to make that lifelong promise. Because that marriage, this thing is a lifelong promise that till the day I die, it's only you I want to be with. It's not a lifelong promise that we'll be together and we'll have kids. Because some people get married and they can't have kids. You know, are you going to say that their marriage is not complete because they cannot have kids? No, some people go through that, they can't even adopt, they can't even find a solution. You can't, because when you say the marriage is incomplete without children, you're even invalidating the people that are married and they don't even have the ability. Children is not a possibility for them, you know.
No, that's how I was saying that unless you're still believing God, but when you're just saying, no, we don't have children, like you have the ability and you don't want it, then it's not making sense to me.
I mean, if you
What
don't
do you
want
think,
it, you
Mr.
don't want
Ekemini,
it.
you know? Yeah, the man here. So tell us what you think about this. Does a marriage without children, is it really incomplete?
You know, the good thing about the whole thing is that you guys spoke first. Okay, so when we talk about marriage, first we need to look at what marriage is all about. Okay. So now, when we look at the meaning of marriage, you see that marriage is an institution that was established by God. God saw it that is good.
Okay.
And he had to establish this. Now we move to the book of Genesis chapter 2 verse 18. Now God said that God realized it was not good for a man to be alone. And so he had to make a woman that will be in close relationship with a man.
Okay.
And he went further to say that this relationship should be based and built on trust, love, and communication. 3 basic things. Now, what is close relationship in this sense? First, he said that the man would what? It wasn't good for him. Baba God even saw that it wasn't good for a man to be alone. Being alone, that's a place of being bored, okay? That's a place of being lonely. So, Oga, you shouldn't be alone. Make I find one fine babe, at least attach you so that your life will be better. And you should live in what? A close relationship.
that close
Meaning that
relationship?
you should be doing what? You understand my point?
We having sex.
I don't know if you can complete that for me, but at
So
least
they should be having sex.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
is that sex? Is
Yes.
it sex? Okay, thank God you've said it.
Okay.
You've just admitted
Okay,
that
so-
now. So now, in the process, what's the result of sex, please?
Pregnancy.
in most cases, yeah.
In most cases, yes.
Which one is it? It is
not
the
every-
case. It is
No,
the case
it's
that
not
we want.
every time.
That's
It's not
that's
every
that's
time,
most
man.
expected.
Okay, but at least that's what we expect. But,
Yes, yes.
And when you get pregnant, what will happen? You will have a child.
Children,
Right? Okay, so now the main purpose of marriage is companionship. That is what we should try to establish first.
Yeah.
So that we are not trying to sit down here and paint it as if it's revolved around children. First is companion, at least to have support, to have comfort, to have someone that will just look at you and give you a beaming smile every day in the morning, and it's going to motivate you, make it. I do challenge many men today. When was the last time you look at your wife? You profess that love to your wife. You get to make your wife feel that she is still beautiful every blessed day. Not wake up and be after you don't say breakfast. Have you done this? Have you done that?
Okay.
That's the main thing. So it is a point of men trying to see how we can buckle up and go beyond just looking out for this is what the woman should do, to a point where we need to do what to upscale, or at least we need to increase our level of responsibilities. So back to what we are actually talking about, the point where marriage without children, if it is complete. For me, I would say that if marriage was designed, God saw it that it's good, that this institution is established. You don't have any rights. Yes, you don't. To sit down and feel that you should get into this union without expecting a baby. You do not.
Yeah.
Let it be that, God so be, let it be that you are not, we don't pray for this. It has never been a prayer
yes.
that you get into marriage and you don't have any child. It has never been your prayer.
Yeah.
And it is not what you expect.
Yeah.
But let it be that maybe for, things do happen. Probably maybe you are not, your sexual life, or you are not fertile, okay, to bear fruit or to bear a child.
At that moment.
Okay, at that moment. Or let it just be that maybe the begin no come. Just like she said. But you're just sitting down and you feel that you don't want to have a child on top of
it
it.
doesn't. You're saying it like. I think you're saying
it.
it. You're saying it like as
Decisions
if
like that.
you're saying it's like as if you just sit down and make the decision to
No,
not.
yeah,
People that
there's
decide
a
to
back-
not.
Yeah, there's a back
I
end to
want the amount of thinking it takes to get to that point of saying I am not having children is deep, because
it. Yeah.
growing up in almost every society, get married, have kids, get married, have kids. To break free from that mindset is not something that someone just decides to do. It's something that someone has sat down and thought about it, has weighed their options, have thought of a life with kids. They have thought about it. And probably these people also have everybody around them telling them that they should have kids. But this is a very, very strong conviction that they may have. I do not I feel it's not for everybody. I do feel like, and you saying that someone does not have the right to make that decision. No.
Seems
See,
to-
It's like
it
See,
seems too
honestly,
strong,
yeah.
Yeah.
Like that is
The
a
truth
bit-
Yeah.
is, I love the generation we have now.
Mm,
And I love how life has actually evolved in Africa.
mm,
This is not a discussion that we brought up some time ago.
yeah.
You don't just you know what I'm talking about as a woman.
Mm,
You don't have they started with a male child first.
mm.
Like you giving a man a male child, somebody will respect you. That is where your point.
But that
Just
was
That-
just
okay,
yeah,
yeah.
we
okay,
understand that one, yeah.
but you understand. But
yeah, because
We
women were
understand.
reduced to what.
But then the
gender
fault was
is.
even from
remember
the
that
man.
it started with
Oh.
the male child. Okay,
Yeah,
over time we got to
well,
understand. It's not really about. Male children. Some level they are becoming. Some of them are becoming. Worthless.
Something
Okay, and the women are actually making up. In fact, most female children are even far more better than the male children. Okay,
Yeah.
that is how our eyes open about. Okay, they said, okay, let's shift from this mindset to embracing that even if you have a man, or sorry, a male child or a female child, now picking them still be okay. We still embrace them with both hands. So in African society, this has never been a concept that's just like you said, it is a modern thing. Okay, and it's a Western thing. It has never been a thing that we Africans embraced. And this is where we will get to the why this actually came all of a sudden.
Yeah,
Me, I
Because
feel maybe
I believe someone will not just sit down
And say they
And
don't
with
want to
the
have
couple.
kids.
and or maybe just they in on a drawing board, this is how we want our marriage to be, and we don't want kids.
children. Yeah.
me, I feel
it,
maybe
it
if
is
it's
not
money,
something they will just ordinarily sit down
down
and
and draw
arrive at
conclusion.
this conclusion.
Yeah.
That means something must have pushed them. And this is what we should talk about, because in Africa, as you are married, understand,
That's what
aside
we are
from the fact that
expecting.
yes, you have responsibilities or you have roles to play, what we need is what? A child.
Yes. Maybe unless they're
What
not
people-
But I feel
financially
like I
What
see
do
buoyant.
people
Your
that
body.
decide to go child free. I feel like they possess a certain level of like intelligence and empathy. I think those are two very important things that may lead to that decision. For instance, now someone that may not want to have kids, it's like the way the world is. I never want to raise a child in this world. They may see it as a lot of people, like if you go through their reasons, you become more understanding as to why they don't want to have
make the
kids.
choice.
Or for example, they see the state of the climate, right? Climate change and things where the environment is deteriorating and all these plastics are killing us. You know, there's no human being, there's no animal on earth that does not have microplastics in their body. Like we all have microplastics because these things we've been producing have not been something that have been helpful, and it's now something that's staying in our bodies. And now people are trying to look for a solution for it because we are literally working chemicals at this point. Some people may see things like that and notice that, okay, things around the world are not getting better. What happens if this is how it is now? If this is how global warming is now? If this is how the environment is now? This is how politics is now? You understand? And it hasn't improved over the past 100 years. The next generation, how are they going to cope? What's it going to be? Or for example, they're seeing the emergence of AI, being something that takes over the world and people aren't using their brains actively anymore. Things are just declining.
Yeah.
They see that decline and they're like, I do not want my children to be a part of this, especially if it's an inescapable thing. Because as much as you try to avoid and raise your children in a bubble or a particular life you want them to live, outside influence will also still be there. So maybe they just like, I don't want to be responsible for having someone live through this. And I feel that is a realization most of these people come to. I don't see it like it doesn't sit right with me that I would be responsible for letting my child come into this.
Okay, I would love to ask you, has there been any time in the world that the entire world has been better?
No, there hasn't been
Of
any
course,
time.
history.
It gets worse progressively.
That means that
Of course.
Progressively.
right from time immemorial, there has not been any time that has been recorded that this particular phase was better than the other one. So now, but we still had a transition of generations.
Yeah.
Remember that the second purpose of marriage, even in the Bible, is progression, continuity of generation, even your own generation, your lineage, keeping the name going, okay, transferring. Just imagine a world where you just wake up, you don't find people again.
Because
You don't just
decide
have
not to have
anybody
children.
again. And without this close relationship that
Yeah.
God, normally I don't love being religious in conversations like this, but I believe so many persons out there, they need this, so I need to place it there. But if I need to be so real, the sex that we talked about here will bring in marriage. Will bring in the child.
Children.
Without the sex, you won't have any child. Okay. So now, the point where you talk about things getting okay. Yes, I understand to some level it is true. The world is deteriorating every blessed day. But there has never been in a time that the world is better than the other in life. But we still had people and we're still having children.
Yeah, but those children did
but
come
then-
into
but
a
then
lot of
we are
suffering.
surviving.
Yeah, we are surviving, but we are surviving.
Yeah,
but
that's my point.
there are still people that didn't
I
survive.
feel
we are doing better.
the
We
only
can do
reason the parents should say maybe we are not ready, maybe they are not financially buoyant or medical condition. Those are the two major reasons. Maybe we are believing when we have the money,
See.
we don't have the money to train the children.
I'm
But when
thinking-
those two,
I'm thinking
aside
projecting
that,
our personal,
See.
emotional
See.
Connection
The thing
to
is-
the
I think that's the only
See.
reason.
Other people,
Aside
because-
that,
Because I'm thinking that people sit down and actually think about it. In fact, even though it's a Western thing, I noticed it's actually creeping into Nigeria. It's creeping into Africa. And there are Nigerians now, couples settled and do not want to have kids.
Yeah.
And you're telling them you can't do that, you can't say that. Why are you telling them that?
Now,
Actually,
my
because
reason-
even the
Instead
perspective
of-
I'm talking
My
out,
reason-
the perspective I'm talking from is it literally has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
I want to have children.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Oh, you
I,
want to
Yeah.
have?
I want to get married and I want to have kids.
Ah.
I am thinking of things from the perspective of someone that doesn't want to have kids. And
yes.
the reason I understand them, I want to have children.
You
I
know?
want to have a family. I
Okay.
want to raise a daughter, a son in a beautiful home and a loving environment.
Oh.
But if I see somebody that doesn't want that for themselves, maybe they've assessed themselves, assessed the world. I'm like, I get you.
Okay,
It's
for
not-
some reasons, okay. Let's just be very realistic here. Now, for me, basically, I just think that there is more to parenting
Mm,
and there's more to marriage.
mm,
So when marriage has to do with two persons involved, that means it's a collective union, not just one person-centered union. That particular erodes the fact that it is not a selfish game.
Yeah.
It is a two-man thing. Okay. And the part of I've been telling people, see, if you're listening to me and you're a parent, this particular issue is aroused as a result of negligence of responsibilities. I believe that women are actually taking 80% of the burden in raising children than men.
mm.
And I say this with authority.
And I think it's actually women who are beginning to
Yes,
say
because
they want
you
to
won't
have
see you won't
children.
see a man sitting down here. I'm very serious to agree with you that he wants to get into a union with any woman without expecting a child. You won't see that ordinarily. But looking at this, women could actually bring. Why? Because the stress alone, women are going through a
know
lot
what
now.
it
is.
Taking
That's
care of
true.
children, and they are still just they call the home manager, right? They're the one that cooks, take care of the child, to pick the child to school, bring the child back. What do the man do? Particularly now in Nigeria,
sitting
they get
room.
money and it's just to provide. That is the least thing you can offer to a woman as a man. Your role is not to just place the money there and leave. Ask a man now, I dare 50 Nigerian men that are married now to tell me can you tell me what you've been doing? Give me a detailed kind of
Not even that. Ask the father, what is
no,
the
I'm
name?
just-
What's the name of your child's best friend?
that is what we are
How
saying.
about class?
What's the
Some
food?
don't even
Just
know
ask
the class.
What's your child's favorite food?
Just give me a list of what you've been
Some
you've
don't
been
even
able
know
to
their class.
know
Little-
about the
little
family.
information like
Yeah.
See, I know Dr. Ben Carson. Okay, I do take that man as a very good role model if it has to do with parenting. That man, you know what it means to stay in a theater for 26 hours operating. I mean, 26 hours, that's a day and 2
Yeah,
hours
that's one food.
standing.
Yeah.
But that man still creates time for his family.
Yeah.
Well, waiting will they do here? Small 4 hours while you're out. Like you are claiming too busy. You don't get to ask your child questions. You don't get to know what is going on with your child in school. Sometimes the child may even be having a teacher that is a bully. You don't know.
don't have
You don't
idea
even know
about the
what is
bullying.
going on around that child. There are so many of us that had very toxic experiences when we grew up. Our parents were not even, they don't even know. If you ask, there's nothing so worse than when you wake up, you don't see your father only to return back home. Okay, by 9 p.m. you're even asleep.
right.
I don't
Some
understand.
children
On
are so
Sundays,
lonely.
instead of parents staying at home, bonding with the family, 4 o'clock at a meeting, 4 o'clock, na ball. I don't understand. What
It's
is
like the
going
same amount of
on?
like, oh, I have to do this thing for work or for this. You have to realize that children should be
need
up
that,
there.
yeah.
Children should be on the pedestal of what we're going to make time for.
I kind of feel like because this whole planned parenthood, like I talked about, started with these women wanting a break from pregnancy. Yeah, because of probably because of the experiences. The woman's body undergoes a lot of stress when she's pregnant, and then sometimes some of them have men who probably left them in that period, you know, and then they have to go through all of that alone. And then, of course, when the child comes, maybe you are still struggling and you're having to take care of it. So they started to think about, okay, how can women have more contraceptives, you know, keep you from getting pregnant, you know, just do away with babies, you know. And so it started to become an idea, and then it was just creeping in until it became a little bit popular because whether we like it or not, traditionally, women are known to take that responsibility of taking care of
Yes.
babies.
Yeah.
So as soon as you get pregnant, there are men who don't really have that time.
Yeah.
Like he was
Okay.
saying, they just
And it
make
can be
provisions
so
for-
depressing.
Yeah, no,
it can
it
be
is
so
actually.
it is like
it is. You know,
imagine going
sometimes
through
there are
that.
times when you can actually have. When I got pregnant for my daughter, I had there was this season where I had some small issues with pregnancy, and I really wanted my husband to be there. And there was this time I called him, and he was like, "He can't make it." And so I had to go through that.
Oh,
You know,
by
I had to go
yourself.
to the hospital, go do some checkup. They said go do a scan, go see the doctor. You know, but it makes a lot of difference to actually have the man.
Someone,
Mad.
yeah.
And
And
so-
you know what the thing is, like a lot of these situations where like for a lot of men tend to lack empathy because it's like if it doesn't affect me, then it's not something that, because if you actually reason it, men when they are even common sickness, they need to be cuddled. They need to be. I'm serious. Like even
No, you
common
need to be with
sickness.
us.
Men are
Brother.
babies.
Because I know
Brother.
this one guy that like he says whenever he goes if he's sick, that the only person that can treat him is his mother. He needs his mom to do everything like, and it's like that's common
Like a
sickness. I did the
baby.
same sickness that same sickness. So I'll have it. My mom is saying wash plates, do this, do that.
Yeah.
While I am sick,
Why you're sick?
while I am sick.
You know?
So imagine pregnancy. You're not just sick, you're also tired, you're also
yeah,
probably
you're on your
depressed.
you are literally
then-
living for
You are on your own.
For how many
living for
months?
And your child is the one deciding your
10
mood.
months.
All he needs is for a man to
So-
actually put himself, at least, even if it's 5% of that situation, then it will be like, okay, maybe I do need to be by my wife's side 247 the entire time. Because 247, my wife is pregnant.
Yeah.
You get, there's no
No,
excuse.
so
there's
tell
no,
me how
the-
a woman will have
So,
such
the-
experience,
the best
and
thing
you
a
still
man should
expect
do-
a woman, the wife, to allow him climb her again.
Hey, no, she will because she has
The best
no,
thing a
but,
man is
but
to
I
do
Well,
feel
no, with
what
that.
the wife when
with
she's
the result
pregnant.
of pregnancy
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
last. You know,
You
so
know.
this
So
is
I
why-
feel that over time, these women have kind of gone through some of these things, even though it's not a thing in Africa. You know, African woman is known to
No, you
just
should
toughen
be,
up. You know, just get used to whatever situation comes at you. You know,
Yeah, like
that's
we're
how
not
you've been
people.
taught. Yeah. So, but it's not like that over there. So once they go through that and they be like, this thing was stressful, and then you have to now come and deal with raising that child, and sometimes deal with it alone.
I mean,
And-
they really said
And then
African
there's
women.
beginning to discourage. So now,
Yeah.
can women just have contraceptives? Can we just do without?
Yeah.
Can we just do without all of this
Another
bodily
thing you
change,
said
know?
about the
You know?
African women, this thing, it's like, you know, the same point we are at, like, oh, we've been toughening it up.
Yeah, tough.
Back then, like, women were toughening it up back then too, you know. Like the white women, they had their own era of, you know, not having that proper care, not having all this information. That was born out of the realization that there's a need for all these things. The realization over many years. And also, we're also coming to that realization that there's a need for those things here, and we're opening our eyes. And I know, and I don't like the sentiment of it's tradition, we've been doing it like this, we should keep doing it like this. Even if we know it's not
It's not
fruitful,
working.
it's not working, it's not helpful, it's just leaving people in a very painful, you know, situation. So that's just it. I feel we are just evolving.
Okay.
That's just it. We shouldn't see it as something that's so much as a problem, but more as a new era, a new chapter.
Or maybe it's a wake up call.
Call,
So we
yeah.
should
It's a
embrace it
wake
with
up
our
call.
full chest.
No,
provided-
no.
Well,
Not to that, not to
I'm not embracing it full
Because
chest
at the end of the
at
day,
all.
it's a woman. See, at the end of the day, it's a woman's issue. It's a woman's body. When I feel like when you bring men into it, it's like it's not the man that's carrying that baby for 9 months.
But if you're
It's
sure
not
of the man you're
that's-
marrying, you're sure of the person you're marrying, the person is okay, and you have the ability, everything is okay, and you're deciding not to have a child, like, what are you using to propose that motion?
That's the thing. Some people, me, as I am now, as I even want to have kids, I can't fathom beginning to even think of all that pain and all that stress that I would go through. The only thing that would help me is just having a good support system. You know, maybe some people don't even have
some-
their
Maybe some people,
Actually,
maybe people, there are
sometimes
people who don't want
because-
to push,
because
but
some
we
people
have
have-
other methods like the adoption, the surrogacy, other methods. But you say no to children in the marriage at all.
In my opinion, it shouldn't be imposed on anybody. It shouldn't be imposed on anybody.
No,
I feel
we are
like
not- we are not
no,
imposing.
I
It's
know,
not
like
imposed.
I get
It's
what
not
I'm saying, but
imposed.
like the way you're saying, I don't understand why you should. I don't understand. You can use that I don't understand why you should for yourself.
Yes.
You can't
make
really
that
say,
decision for
because me
another.
now, I'm not, as I'm saying this, I'm not saying I don't understand why you should have children. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not here demonizing people that want to have children. And I'm also not here demonizing people that don't want to have children.
yeah.
Because people, like I always say this thing, people are different. People are so different. Like, you will never know what it is to be the person next to you. You will
Yeah.
never know what it's like. So for you to sit down and like assume that this is how it should be is very, very lackluster.
I believe that before anything you want to do, as far as these are two persons involved, there should be a very clear place of communication.
Yeah.
So you need to sit down with
Whoever
whoever
you're
wants
with.
to, start the journey. See, it's so myopic how two blind people intend to get into a lifetime stuff. There's something they don't even know to break away without having any thoughts, without having any knowledge, without having any eyes. It's so myopic. It's that blind. So if you want to have, this thing to work, you need to sit down with someone you want to end up with, okay,
Yeah.
and have this conversation. Oh, that is why I really cherish certain conversations like this coming up in talking stage.
Yeah.
So that, this is my a very sensible man will ask you, we will need to know your fears. Because he believes ordinarily, like I said, you won't just sit down and say, oh, I don't want to have a child. Okay, may I know why you say so? Okay, you try to point out, okay, this is what. Basically, it will just tilt around. Maybe you don't want your child to be a victim of circumstance, or you don't want your child to do. You want your child to have maybe pass through the same situation you must have been, or you don't just want the whole wahala of the world to be on. There are so many reasons. The child, the man will, what if I do this? What if I come in here? What if I do this? Whatever the situation is, please try to understand yourselves. Because when you understand yourself, it will help you guys a lot to avoid the mistake that you make. Because when you want to sit down, it is very good at the initial stage. You guys don't want. But do you know that when it has to do with the union, families are involved. So I told you the other time that life is a product of 3 C's: chances, choices, and consequences. So whatever you want to make as a decision, you need to sit down and look at your own environment, at least, even if not the entire environment, but the people that you hold so dear to. So you need to make a choice that whatever you are doing, it won't affect the next person that is so involved in your life.
How is your having a child going to
Let me point out
affect
that
or not affect them?
do you factor your two families here? See, marriage is not. Marriage is
I'm
not.
asking you to help us understand. Yes.
When you are making certain decisions that has to do with a lifetime decision, factor your two families here.
Okay.
You don't call it your journey. Because if, as a woman now, imagine, let's just come. I love being so realistic around my environment. If you are in marriage now, and you as a guy, maybe you didn't have this conversation with now before this time, your parents must have, if they ask your parents 1 or 2 things about you, or 1 or 2 decisions about you, that they know. Oh, my child, is always a thing of joy to have a. You know what grandchildren mean over here now. So now, imagine you after 1 year after marriage, 2 years after marriage, 3 years after marriage. There's no proof. What is wrong?
So there's no proof.
I mean, that's the thing. That's the
typical grandmom would
that particular aspect is a very common theme in Africa, where human beings are devalued and reduced to freaking property. We are like, do you understand? Like, I've always mentioned this thing. Children are human beings. Grandchildren, like, it's like you're reducing it to the fact that having a child will make them happy. They want it.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
It's not something. It's not something.
That's what I'm saying.
It's
It's a product of choice. If you want to decide that you are not having children, for the rest of your life with your partner, then you need to be fully ready.
Yeah.
To let go of one particular part of your life that you've hold so dear to.
Yeah.
Because
family
beats me, the two families can never consent to it.
Yeah.
So it's a product of choice now to know that, this decision, babe, this is a lifetime decision we are making, and we are ready for anything that will come up. So even if it means letting go of
your own family,
of the family, no wahala.
But why should you let go of
No,
the
but
family?
let's go for your happiness now.
No,
for your happiness.
Why should your family, because they don't agree with certain choices you make, why should they?
I can't sit down here.
Why should they want to?
Let me be very sincere to you.
Yeah.
I can't sit down here.
And your brother, for instance.
Let it be that I'm prepared to embark on a journey that I won't return again, which is priesthood. I can't sit down here and expect to live my life fully without giving my mom a grandchild. I can't do that.
Okay.
I can, and that's in fact, the memory of my mother alone. The memory of my mom, even if we have that conversation, the memory of my mom alone won't push me.
See the way you even said it. Like, I can't sit down here and
No,
not
and
give
not give
my
your
mom.
mother.
A child is not something to be given.
Okay,
This is the thing that we're saying, yeah?
That is why I
I
say
have children, so
Yeah.
of course, I never ever thought about the idea of not having children, but I'm just thinking about it. People actually have genuine reasons for saying, okay, for this time, I don't want to go this way.
this
But
is what I'm saying. That this
Like
is a place of
Maitabel is saying, we
communication
cannot
now.
bring having
No, I'm
children
not-
down to the fact that, oh, my mother needs a grandchild.
Yeah,
You
I don't
can't-
think
you
that's.
can't reduce
I don't
it.
think in
You
any
can't
way
reduce
that
it.
is.
I'm not reducing it to the fact that this is what my mom expects. I'm bringing in people that are involved in my life in that particular
They shouldn't be.
conversation.
If it's something
So it's a
I
place
want.
of consideration.
Because like children,
I want
them.
I want it fully.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we're having that conversation, let it be that whatever that, like I said, if you need it, let it be that you are prepared for anything that will come up, because you can't have 10,000 persons agreeing to want what you need. You cannot. It's an environment where we have different.
in as
Just
much-
like four of us here, we can have a very similar opinion on this.
Yeah.
She has her own,
Of
I
course.
have my own.
You're right.
So you should be ready for, because Ibad as Ibad, you have people that won't agree to what you are doing, and it may foresee. The truth is, when parents, there's one thing about parents here in Africa. Now, when they see in the level of what they went through,
Yeah.
leave this time. Check parents of 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, what they went through to see you up to this level. Okay? And what are you saying? You are bringing this up as what? For whatsoever reason, when you want to bring this up, whatsoever may be your reason.
yeah.
Now, the parents will not look it in that direction. If we went through this and we still had you, how much more you?
In as much as we don't need
That's-
to, we
that
don't
just
need
goes
to
to how much of
follow.
a broken
That's what I said. You don't need to
Opinions
follow
of
that. You don't need to follow.
Yeah.
But I'm just
Yeah.
bringing that to. So whatever you want to do, let it be that you are ready for anything. Okay. If this will lead, because it may definitely, like I said, the two parties can.
Yeah,
One may
never-
agree. Either the wife side or the guy's side may agree. Okay, no problem. Since I respect your choice, I respect your decision.
No, it's not even about
But
the guy's side, but it's just personal, because most people, most couples really want children, because even they're saying children, they are not some set of this. Most of us, we are living our lives for our children. We are selfless for the children we've not even seen. They
What
said,
am I
okay,
even
maybe
living for now?
if we suffered, we don't want our children to suffer the same
It's
way.
always been
So
the
we are
prayer.
actually coming to life to make life so that our children will enjoy. These are even people we've not seen yet. So there are some people that are even living life for the children. And then you are now living life and you
you wanna
say,
live,
no,
you are living.
you are just living
Yes,
for living
see,
sake.
I think that, this idea of you're living your life for children that
living.
you have not seen
no, you are just living.
it's kind of funny, Sha, because are you living your life for children you've not seen?
No, like it's part of it.
Okay, ma.
Because
Now, let me-
as
can I
children
ask you a
coming
question?
in,
Yes, sir.
Where were you 10 years ago? At what point in your life? 10 years ago. Let me get
Asking
something.
the question
10 years ago, I want to be sure of something. 10 years back.
What year was that? What year was 10 years ago? 2015?
Yes.
I was working. I
Okay.
was single, yeah.
Okay. Now, the question, what is the question someone would ask you? Where do you see yourself 7 years from now? As at that time?
Of course, when then it used to be, either you're married or you are maybe acquiring another skill or a degree, or perhaps you have
But the
children.
first thing is marriage, right?
Yeah, of course. That's
Okay. Perhaps you have children. Meaning that
Yes.
it's something that we expect.
yes.
We expect that from you.
it's a tradition.
And you also need that for
Yes,
yourself,
that's
right?
what I'm saying. Wait, listen to me. I'm not against. I'm not for or against. The truth about it is that I'm trying to understand why someone would want to take that part.
Yeah.
Yeah, wait.
These days, I don't just go at people like, you don't agree with me, let's fight. No, I don't go like
No,
that.
we are saying
if
this
you
all the
don't
time.
agree with me, I want to understand what happened.
It's just
Yeah, as
the
when we
vibe
started
that you
this.
guys are giving is
Yeah.
that you're policing someone else's lifestyle that doesn't affect you in any way.
Yeah.
Not in the sense that you want to but the way you're passionately, I don't feel you should really care that much what that person is doing. Because at the end of the day, people are having kids. It's such a general thing. So many people are having children. 4 people are having children. Children are always coming. So if one person says that they don't want to, I'm having
Let
the reason why because the way you guys are talking is like
the reason why
I don't
I'm saying
understand
this-
why
See, the reason why I'm
because it's
see,
like when you get the answers to the
um,
why they are making that decision, what does this add
No,
to
it has
Yeah,
it's
still wouldn't make any difference because
it doesn't
the
make any
tradition
difference
has been that
whether they have
at
whether they
certain
distribute
points,
yeah.
this is what's expected. If you marry, you're expected to do this.
Mm.
I think what we should be trying to understand is okay, so people are actually coming to say, I would not want to have children. Maybe because I may not be capable of raising them, or maybe because I don't want to live my life for another person. Like this
Some
young
they
lady
said they
said,
don't want the way
"Wait,
their
maybe
shape.
because I don't want to live my life for another person."
Okay.
Like she's saying that, you're at some point you are just living for your children, even when you have not seen them. So there are people that maybe coming to say, "Oh, I don't want to live my life." What you should be trying to understand is what happened. How did you get here? So if you really care about it, if you really truly care about someone who says they don't want to go a certain way, what you should try to do is understand where
Where
they're
they are
coming
coming
from.
That is where I'm like
If you
That's
can
how-
understand where they are coming from, then you know if it's possible to actually make a detour, like influence
Yeah.
them to make a detour.
Because if their reason is something small and something
Yeah.
trivial,
You've
you
seen
can
that.
talk
You've
to
seen
them
that.
and be
You've
like,
seen
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
so far
I
in this
know-
conversation, we've looked at reasons, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like we said, financial reason. even
Aside from the
medical.
financial problem, the whole stress.
Yes.
It's something we cannot just remove out completely in this conversation. Women are going through a lot. The responsibility alone is on the shoulders of the women. The men are not taking it. And this is where men out there, the husbands, you guys need to wake up. It is madness. Why would you leave everything for a woman?
Not making any sense.
She now, particularly initially, I was thinking, okay, these responsibilities. See, there's nothing like that. That is rubbish. You have responsibility. You know what you should do as a man.
Yeah.
Plato once said that it is so wrong for a man who is not able to see a child through the fruition of education to impregnate a woman. What does that mean? If you are not ready, education is nurturing. Education is gotten from two Latin words, educate and educere, meaning that you need to nurture and to raise. So away from just taking a child to a formal school setting, you need to raise and nurture a child with patience and attention. Children need care and attention. Now, it's not profession. I don't tell people parenting is not about giving money or providing for the children needs. That is just a primary. The main factor that molds the child is can a child see yourself in his or her life? Are you actively involved?
Yeah.
Do you know what's going on with that child? Do you know what happened to that child in school? Do you know what that child is going through? Do you even know in our own environment, in the house like this, in the family, there are certain persons that may be a pest to that child's life.
Yeah, and
and
you're
you
not aware.
are not
Yeah.
aware. So it's a call. Yes, this actually is a very best conversation at this period because it's a call for parents to go back and look at the plan they had. Do you know that there are certain parents that they didn't even have any plan? If you ask them, what was your plan?
I mean,
Yeah,
no
they-
plan.
they didn't have any
Let's just
completely
say
nothing.
99%
No
of
plan, no
African
plan,
parents
no
don't
plan,
have
no
any
plan,
for their
no plan,
children.
no plan.
It's just an expectation. You
Yes,
get married, you have children.
Yes.
No plan.
No plan. So they just need to sit down and
And draw those
re-strategize.
things,
Okay, this
yes.
is how. Okay, honey, I believe that we can complement each other. So if the woman likes cooking, initially I was really against that. If you can't cook, it's a wahala for me. But now I understand if I can cook, okay, I assist. If she's good, I know of a friend that she hates washing. It's not a thing. She does laundry. If it's something I can, but I know I'm not really good. So like kitchen is not my place, but to wash is something I can do. Okay. So why not just, amplify
swap.
on my strength? I know how to wash professionally. I have certification. By training. So then why not just put that and help her out? You get my point? Why,
Yeah.
if she's someone that loves kitchen, she gets to cook. That life no supposed to.
Yes.
Cool. If
Yes.
the problem of battling, we will take the child to school. Who will? You look at your work. How is your work like? Is your wife free at this time? See, my own is late men. Men should not stress women too much.
Yes. God
That is my
bless you.
problem. Because they get to, you guys, it's so easy when a woman is sad. You guys cannot fake it.
Very
I'm
well.
so serious about it. You people don't know how to hide your emotions. But you see me, it is very difficult to see a man now. I mean probably this particular era because things we've evolved.
Yeah, actually,
Men are not
I
crying.
think men are actually appreciate it.
Initially, you
Men are not crying.
why are you crying as a man? On top
I
with him?
mean,
Why should you
I feel
cry
like
as a man on top with him
I feel
now?
like men are evolving, they're changing.
Yeah,
Yes,
they're
because
becoming-
initially
And I feel
And
it's
the
a
women are
good
even
thing.
becoming stronger.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a good thing because I know one guy like that that's he's opened himself at least to a certain extent of just understanding himself, understanding his worth. Whether that means he doesn't chase women.
Mm.
One thing he can never do is chase women.
What?
The only thing he's going to do is like if a woman actually does want to be with him the way he wants to be with the woman, he will accept. He's not going to force anything. He has gotten to that point of if she really wants me and he feels like that's when the truest relationship bond can come. It's someone that he doesn't have to do too much and be flashy and just grab them. Someone that actually wants him for the person he is. He doesn't also put his value in money. He sees himself as a human being, as a person. Beyond that, and the relationships he has had have been ones that were fulfilling in the sense that he actually did genuinely know this girl he dated. It wasn't a transaction. It wasn't and this is him deciding to break free from the norm of you're a man. That means your value is equated to money. That means as you have that money, you own women because women follow money. That mindset. And whenever I see a guy that's able to, because it's very hard. It's hard to get to the point. It takes so much emotional intelligence. It takes so much thinking. It takes so much deconstructing of mindsets to even get to that point. Even if he hasn't fully broken free, because he still has a few toxic masculinity things he holds on to. It's like I'll be like, okay, yeah, you've actually done something here. You're growing, you're evolving, you're becoming. Your mind is expanding, and I appreciate it every time I see it.
And there's something I want to share with you, ladies. Do you know that there are many men today, most men that we have today, we don't know how to treat a woman. We never learn how to treat a woman.
Yeah.
So that's why most of the reasons
Most
why
daddies
ladies
do
who have
this,
issues in relationships today is as a result of the proper upbringing on the part of caring.
Yeah.
That's why you see most guys. That's why you really have guys that are patient. They don't understand that patience and tolerance is a zero thing for them. What are you patient for? On top with him. So if the only thing they feel that a grown-up person, someone that is an adult, you are patient. You guys can do shakara now. I'm just bringing that your friend now in the picture now.
Yeah.
So you doing what is hard to get, my dear? Who are you doing that for? On top with him. I'm trying to. There's nothing that pisses me so off than I'm trying to give it my time here. I'm trying to give you the very best of my attention, and you are using it for what?
Like there's this thing I always see is like that she's not playing hard to get. You're playing hard to get rid of. Because probably she may not even just be interested. She's not trying to.
It is. I do notice something recently.
To dispose.
So there's something I use my sister to learn a lot. So now I see her, trying to display certain happiness. I'm like, why would she do that? I said, Ekemini, it is the place of a man to look out for a woman. You don't expect a lady to chase you.
Yeah.
If a lady chases you, then you lose the
interest.
worth
No.
and the respect, the value you have for her. If she chases you too much,
Mm.
you don't expect a lady to show you that place of desperation. That is what sorry. That if that's actually maybe went against where I was trying to. What I'm trying to, the point she was trying to raise is desperation. See, if you are too desperate, if you show to a man that you are, in fact, you show all the green flags, automatically you are too open. Okay, he can have you. Okay, like I'm not having you in the sense of sex. No, like I mean having access to maybe your life, getting
Your
involved,
time.
everything, your time. No, you wouldn't expect. But if you see you are trying to, have attention here, and she's giving you that touch of, to go chakara small, you get to like, okay, let me get to see what I'm doing. But I just feel at the same time, that is what I'm saying, that sometimes we are actually a victim of certain upbringing.
Yeah.
We have not been trained. We've not trained the boys. I see. You could see something on TikTok now.
Yeah,
How
actually
a little child, handled I think I saw one how he helped the girl. He took the bag, went inside the classroom was like, wow. There are guys now that even if they can't, you know that it's so wrong when you're working with a lady and you can't help a lady at least climb downstairs. Just when you go out to places, check something. A guy is working with you, and you guys are getting close to the door. I'm young, sharp.
Only in Africa, they are just strong in anything they are doing.
They just believe that they are certain, and you will say, guy, you are not so romantic. You are not even romantic at all. Where did you come? I will do, okay, where are you from? I don't hear that. Okay, we are going to the eatery now to sit down with the lady. The guy just go find him place, sit down first, leave the lady.
They find herself.
But the normal thing at least is to ensure that the lady is seated first, right?
Yeah.
Before you get. So there are certain, there are things we are not taught in school. And these are things I expect even parents
to start
training.
Yeah.
It is your place
Train your
to
boys
show that
be
empathy.
gentle.
See, the place she was trying to come from was, I know where Mahitha, but I completely understand what she was trying to. We don't have empathy. Men is something that we don't have it. We just feel that it is most times men are really selfish. If you really look at, for example, now you want to, I think this one particular concept you guys are bringing in, and I love it. I give you guys kudos. So why do you want to have me? Why do you want to see me? Why do you want me to be involved in your life? Everything is why? And if you should look at the response the man will give you, it's almost
very
similar.
selfish.
Similar and selfish. Very similar and selfish. Everything will lead to what? One just last thing. Where is it making sense here? So there should be a place where, as a man, you need to learn. We need to start teaching. I mean the boys, because I believe if men could learn how to handle or how to treat, how to be patient enough, with a lady, it will go a long way. The lady won't have to see too much shaggy. I don't know how it feels when you speak condescending of a lady, you make a lady feel too bad. Probably, there are certain, this will just be very realistic. There are certain mothers, there are certain women that are just, they don't really have anything doing at home at the period. Let's say the man is the one really providing. So the fact that you are providing and you expect, just look at what they will do. You just talk carelessly. You feel that, the worst of it, or maybe she could not even afford the basic things she should afford for herself. You're the one that buys everything. Your own don't die now. So that means there are certain decisions you will take and the wife is not away.
Yeah, that's
so these are things we should look at. And you are doing that when kids, it goes down the line where it will just say the lady provokes the man. When she don't even have the right to make you angry. Let's just start with that. And when the children are there, there are certain things you can't say to your wife in front of the children.
Yeah.
What do you expect the children to do? They just go, mom, that is doing well. They will clap back. No. That is definitely wrong. So we just need to have a shift in training. Let's train men. I don't know if you form college and train me, please, I will apply. Train us. Yes. It's a place of training. It's a place of rehabilitation. You need to take men to rehabilitation centers. Yes, I'm very serious.
Yeah,
because I see how.
Yeah, actually.
Yes. I've seen how a man. I've seen how a guy. Maybe a lady just approached you.
Yeah.
Asking you, for example, that it's so common now. You see, ladies will just come into your DM. Oh, can you just sub my line? The next thing, will you come to my house?
Yes.
When you expected me to give you something, what were you thinking that will come as? Or what were you thinking is something you reciprocate in return? What should I expect from you?
Because small things like that are stuff that my friends would do for
small data of 850.
It's like for example now, I can message one of my female friends. I'm like, girl, I am so hungry. They'll ask me how much do you need? Do you understand? And they'll send it they're not seeing it as I'm trying to take advantage of
Message
them.
a guy.
They have seen it as I'm in need and I need help. But a guy will not see it as I'm trying to take advantage of the fact that maybe he likes me, or he's seeing it as something that, I have to pay him back for small food or something like. Do you get? It's like they are really ready to take advantage of their ability to help you. And those types of guys that do stuff like that, those are the guys you should watch out for in case of those are the type of guys that will get married, and if they're the financial provider, their wife is nothing.
No, it's
It
nothing.
doesn't make
Definitely.
any sense
It's
at
nothing.
all.
Their wife will literally
I
be
actually
nothing.
feel that all of these things culminated in some of these decisions that women are making and are voicing out.
Yes.
Even though some of them are unable to say, this is where I'm coming from exactly, but all of this is just, maybe some of them have watched their mothers, They watch their mothers go through
I don't know why
certain
you.
experiences.
I don't know what you people would do. You guys, I think you people need to
know.
need to sit down and educate, enlighten women on the need to voice out.
Yeah.
Most of them are dying in silence. I'm very this nonsense of endurance, in marriage. It's killing most of them.
Yeah.
So there's a need for women.
So
to
women
start
have
speaking.
been known to just go through
Just
things
go
and
through,
toughen it up.
endure.
Toughen up, just go
Endure.
through all of those things. And some of them saw their mothers go through similar situations, and over time, somehow that thing just spreads. And before you know it, some women are becoming enlightened and saying, no, I don't really have to go through all of
Yes,
this.
of course.
Yeah.
In fact, there are women who are choosing not to even get married.
Yes.
Yes, there are women who are choosing not to get
That's one of the
married.
reasons
There are
why
women
you
who are
see
saying I can have
divorce
babies
happening
without
today.
a man. So what's
Yes,
the
yes,
essence?
yes.
Yeah.
So now they're having children without getting
Without
married.
getting
Because the truth
married.
is that
Whether you want to be there or not, that's not their concern.
because like that thing of choosing to, because there is a different level of stress raising a child on your own and then also trying to get someone to help you raise that child. It's like they see it as, you know what, I can raise this child completely on my own. I don't want to add that extra stress of trying to make a man understand why he should take care of his children in the capacity that he's needed to. And that alone, like there's this thing called mental load. It's outside of your physical stress. Just the thing that
thought of it,
your
yeah.
brain carrying all that stress, it's a lot. And I think we naturally have that ability to multitask. But that doesn't mean that it should be taken advantage of.
And I feel even women are avoiding the master and slavery kind of thing. Because now there are some men who feel they are the master and the women are slaves. So the women, they just want to avoid that. As a master, they want to tell you what to do, what you're supposed to go, where you're supposed to go, how you're supposed to take care of the children, and so on and so forth. So the women are not deciding, okay, I will have my own children and just stay with them without anyone coming out to be the master of the house.
You
So
never done pride before. See, we just pray that in your prayer every blessed day, pray that God shouldn't bring a man that is proud your way. I'm very serious. Like he may have this whatsoever I'm saying here. I may sit down here. He may have this. His construct, his thoughts, it's maybe similar to where I'm going to or what I'm saying. But the pride, man, they have pride though. And when they see this, and when they say, they look at the place of their submissiveness, and you should be submissive.
they always use that submissiveness now.
They will feel that they should control, they should know what is going on in your life, whether you like it or not. So there's no place of, consideration. They feel that it should be wherever they want or in the direction they want it to go. So we have more of authoritative husbands more than considerate husbands.
Yes.
That is what we have
And
to
we need more of the
And we need
considerate
more of.
husbands.
So I don't. You people should start this college. Because it's necessary.
I mean,
So I think that's how all of these things are. That's how we've come to this part where women are now making certain funny decisions.
Yes.
And
I
we
don't
don't
blame them. We don't
consider
blame them.
tradition.
We don't
And I
blame
feel like if you really get concerned about these decisions, what you should do, whether it's your family member, whether it's your friend, well, one of the things you should do, or whether it's even your spouse to be, for instance, because there are actually women who are telling their spouse to be, men, we're going to get married, but we don't want children. Okay, I watched a movie, a Nigerian movie recently, and the lady was like, she had been abused in her previous marriage, so she left that marriage. She didn't have a child, so she left that marriage, and then she was dating this younger guy, and of course, this guy wanted children and everything, but she is well-to-do, she has money, and she has everything, and
I just believe that
she was paying the bills 50-50 with him, and then one day they got talking about it, and she was like, no, I don't want kids. And the guy was like, how could you not tell me all of this? Well, you know I want kids and all of that. I said, I don't want kids. I'm paying my bills. I'm doing everything. What do you want? As in, I don't want to have that conversation. And so she finally told him that she doesn't want. And then, of course, he said, no, they were not married.
Okay, sure.
He said, no, that he
Okay,
can't
sure.
have, of course, that he can't have that kind of arrangement, that he wants children. Of course, I think these are conversations that couples should have before they get married.
Yes,
Since
very.
the guy knew where the lady came from, the first thing that guy would have done is at least to have that lady cleansed. See, I believe that right now there are certain things that we can't handle that is beyond our control or beyond our accessibility, ability to or capacity, let's say. So I just believe that that particular lady with that trauma in marriage and the whole thing she went through, she should have had a counseling or therapeutical session.
No, so I think that's one of the reasons I'm saying if you really care about people saying those things, beyond trying to judge them and trying to project your own personal opinions on them, you should try and understand why.
Nope.
Like, get to the root of, why? What happened to you? Some of them may be an abusive situation. Some of them just maybe saw their parents in certain ways. Some of them have just grown up and just seen all of those things are just gotten them to the point where they say, no, I beg. I will do everything, but not this one. All of those, just, when I wanted to have my second baby, when I got to the hospital, I said, okay, and doctor said, okay, there's this, and you may need to do a CS, a surgery, to get your baby out. And I was like, okay, it's something I've never done before. But I realized that I wasn't so okay with it.
Okay.
But on a good day, the doctor asked us to come, myself and my husband, then we sat with him and he talked us through it. And he said, no, it's just a simple procedure. It doesn't even take up to 45 minutes, maybe just 1 hour max, and then we are done. And then in 3 days, you're back to your house. So he explained it so simply. And before you know it, I was like, oh, wow. I was calm, I was at peace with it. And I was like, I was willing to go through it, So sometimes you just need to listen to this person and then you just need to, okay, so this is what happened to you. But do you think that if things were different, would you want it differently? Then you would know, okay, is it really you saying I want it like this, or maybe situation that has just brought you to this point? Okay. And if things were really different, would you want it differently? Because personally, I'm not concerned about someone making such decisions on it. I really don't bother about it.
Well, my own is personally, it's not a particular, it's not a red flag for me. But let it be that you are not really being too selfish. That is let it be that you are not selfish. Let it be that it is something that the other person would also want to.
Let it be an
because when you make it too obvious that this is so much about you. And this is marriage you're talking about, a place where there should be compromise, at least a place where there should be understand. What is understanding about at least trying to leave one thing so that the other one would fly. I just believe that it will actually, tarnish the whole essence of staying in marriage. So whether you want to have a child or whether if you don't want to have a child, let it be that it is not selfish. It is something that you guys have sat down, you've agreed, you've seen to. No problem. If you don't even want to have, you mean like no problem. Stay like that. But let it be that at least you are not trying, because there's nothing so bad than when when the other person is not comfortable with a particular decision, he just try to fake it as if he or she has made a consent to that. Okay. Meanwhile, originally his heart is not fully in support of it, and that same person may, in your absence,
do it behind your back.
Go ahead.
Since you are not okay now, and you know how some men
tend to be
they can play it in a way that you can't even find out.
Yeah.
And moreover, of course, this is marriage, so you have one option: is either you stay or you bounce back. So that's why we get to see divorce. I've seen that's where the place of communication comes in. That's why I do advise, take your talking stage very serious. I had a conversation with someone, a friend of mine, was like, the battle was between homeschooling and something just came up, I don't know. And all of a sudden, I think what we discussed earlier before coming, maybe the place of beating a child. Okay, there was sometimes a 6-year-old boy was molested by a teacher. Did you see that particular post on Facebook? It was trending that time, how a teacher abused a female teacher. She slapped that boy.
Little boy.
Yes, one little boy, 6 years old. So when I brought it out, what do you think about Jesus? You calm down now. It's not me. I didn't hit the church. Just relax. Let me understand you. So I was like, that's why she doesn't want formal education. She just wants homeschooling. But I don't understand. Like, who will make the curriculum? Who will make the syllabus? Who will be teaching?
It's not difficult.
I wanted to see something where she's coming from, because you can't tell me you can cover up everything the child needs. Okay, so it may just be, and even if can you teach? Are you telling me that this same child you don't need university education? I wanted to understand. You don't need secondary.
I think
she said that entirely.
Oh, seriously?
Yes, I was like, what are you telling me? You don't know?
That one is not. No, I would understand.
No, I've accept that one.
Yeah. I understand wanting to homeschool your small children.
No, she said
for the whole of
entirely.
primary school.
secondary, university.
But
Depends on
what?
whether you're an open university now.
No, now on top waiting.
I mean, maybe they
I'm very
might
s-
do online.
She was very serious
school.
about this. Leave it.
Okay,
Very,
then-
very. Even when I said, okay,
Well,
just
sure.
try to see it this way. You know, I mind
Okay.
is made up. I said, okay, no problem.
I think we've come to the end of this episode. We've had fun, a very long, lengthy conversation. We've agreed, we've disagreed, we've come to, an idea of how things are.
Yeah.
So subscribe.
We've concluded that
Yeah.
the bottom line is let there be some understanding
communication
between
as well.
Yes,
couples.
yes,
If you
yes.
do decide to be child free, you don't want children, talk to your spouse about it. Before you get in the marriage, not something that you pop up when somebody is already in the
And be
marriage.
sure your spouse
Of
agrees
course,
to
it
that.
will not be proper for you to get into the marriage and then you expose something as sensitive as that. And then, of course, if you really care about people saying they don't want children, try and understand
with them,
why
They
why
don't
they
want
are
those
making
children.
that statement,
Yeah.
where they are coming from, whatever it's the situation. If it's something that you can actually influence, it's possible if you take the time to understand what they are going through, there's a chance that you may be able to, because I think it's not really a popular opinion, but I noticed that quite a number of women are beginning to sound like that, are beginning to make that announcement and taking that part. And whatever is influencing that decision, try to see if you can understand where they're coming from and try to see if you can actually, beyond projecting your own personal opinions on them, try to see if you can understand them and see if you can actually help them. Help them out to make better choices. Yeah. So thank you so much
Drop
for
your
joining
opinion
us
and your thoughts
Feel
in the
free to
comment
join your
section.
thoughts.
Okay?
Yes, to comment, share, like, subscribe.
Yeah.
Join us on TikTok, every
Facebook,
social
Instagram,
media. Yes.
Everything.
We'll be
We are
happy to
them.
hear from you. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.